Friday. Today, what I wanted to talk about, I'm a little sick. If you can't notice it, if you don't notice it, anyway, I've got like sinus pressure. My ears are clogged, and yes, this is what Bailey gave to me from coming to visit last weekend. But it's not as bad as how she had it. But it's still just like kind of lingering just enough where I don't feel like doing anything and I feel terrible. Um, Also, I don't think I mentioned this. I'm pretty sure that I got stung by a bee when I was mowing the lawn this week, and my leg swelled up and it was super itchy and terrible. So I was taking Benadryl and putting ice on it. And today, I'm trying not to touch it, but today's the first day where I don't feel like ripping my leg off. I mowed over like a hole in the ground, and apparently there was a yellow jacket nest in the ground. I don't know if that's what yellow jackets do, but that's what it seems like they were. So, it's always something with me, or it's multiple things. And so this week would be multiple things. I was thinking, which would I rather have? Poison ivy all over my body or my legs swelling up to the size of a not a baseball, it's bigger than that. Softball, probably. I think I'd rather have the bee sting, honestly. Um, Okay, here we go. So, what I wanted to talk about, completely unrelated, is showing up for our future selves. And it really goes back to the idea in sobriety that of not escaping. So even when we get sober, life still happens. But we still have to be as present as we can for all of the stuff that shows up. Whatever shows up for us, we need to show up for it. And sobriety doesn't always feel good. We talk a lot about how life gets better in recovery, and mine certainly has gotten better. But sobriety also means being present for the parts of life that hurt, that are scary, and knowing that there is an escape that is available to me is is something I have to learn, that the the temporary relief by escaping using alcohol or using whatever it is that might be how you cope, knowing that the cost of that escape, the problem isn't going to go away. It's just temporarily avoided. So escape postpones the pain. Um, Alcohol used to change how I felt temporarily. So what I did was I just drank all the time. I'm like, if this is going to temporarily relieve the pain, then how about I just do it all the time? So I was drinking, I really was drinking 24/7 if I was awake. Um, it I, it didn't allow me to deal with anything in my life. Like big problems, or even just by avoiding big problems and then drinking all the time and thinking, well, I'll never have to deal with it. I started escaping from any feelings at all. What I was trying to do was numb everything. Like I didn't have to deal with my anxiety. That was a big one. I didn't have to deal with regret. I didn't have to deal with shame or the consequences, because once those would arise, I would just drink again. So I was giving myself relief without any sort of resolution to anything, anything. So they say in sobriety, like when you start drinking alcoholically, you stop growing. And that I feel is really accurate with how I just stopped dealing with life. If I'm escaping everything and I stopped dealing with life at all of that life stuff just continues to build. That anxiety that I was trying to escape or numb became tenfold because not dealing with it just made things a whole lot worse. They say there's no problem that alcohol is going to make better. It only makes things worse. And I believe that too. So, sobriety, along with being able to feel the good things, sobriety also allowed me to feel the bad things. And I didn't want to feel the bad things. But I had been doing it so long that I didn't know bad things were lessons. Um, of course they are. I don't learn a lot of lessons when everything goes perfectly. But when I have to feel a little bit of pain, or a little bit of fear or a little bit of anxiety, if I feel a little overwhelmed or disappointed or sad, those are the things that teach me. Um, Not every feeling requires me to do something about it. Also, like recovery taught me how to carry those feelings, how to look at those feelings as information and not instructions. So my feelings are not commanding me to behave a certain way. I can be sad, angry, overwhelmed, disappointed, and remain sober, emotionally sober. Isn't that odd to like think? Like emotional sobriety doesn't mean that I'm happy all the time. Sobriety does not equal happiness, but emotional sobriety is learning how to feel and not run away from it. And what I like to think about when I feel a lot, when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel things that I don't want to feel, I think about future me, like tomorrow's me. I think about what can I do to prepare her to handle this a little bit better tomorrow. Tomorrow, like every decision I make today gets handed to the person I wake up as tomorrow. um, Drinking would give today's me temporary relief while giving tomorrow's me the consequences. And they're all me. I don't want to mistreat tomorrow's me. Um, so recovery tells me, what can I do today that takes care of tomorrow's me? Sometimes the kindest thing that I can do for my future self is simply not to make things worse tomorrow. And drinking is what would do that. And then if you pull the drinking away and we look at just our character defects, um, what are the things that I've learned in my program or pinpointed about myself, the behavioral patterns that I have? What are those things that I need to pay attention to that might be carrying pain or discomfort or anxiety or regret to tomorrow's me. I don't have to necessarily solve today's problem in order to be kind to tomorrow's me, but I can make choices today that make tomorrow easier. Um, and sometimes those choices are right, doing a podcast and talking about what's going on, using my God box, calling my sponsor, calling my mommy, doing these things that the tools of my program. Um, for me in stroke recovery with the chronic pain, resting today. This has been one that I'm slowly getting better at, but resting today so that tomorrow's me can do something fun or enjoyable. Asking for help today so that tomorrow's me doesn't feel so alone. Go to a meeting today so that tomorrow I can wake up and be willing to go to another meeting. Pray, call someone, just feel like just be. Doing that gives tomorrow's me a little more patience, a little more tolerance. Going to bed early gives tomorrow's me a lot more space to have fun. I'm not as tired. And then, of course, for alcoholics, don't drink today. And it's those small decisions that become acts of love for the person that I'm becoming. Um, Pain passes differently when I stay present. When I try to escape from pain, it it the processing of the pain stops. When I say I can't tolerate this and I do something like drink, or there's lots of other ways that we escape pain. Um, but that pain just it never quite processes. I I have lots of examples of, grief, experiencing the death of people that are close to me and then drinking through those. Like I was not processing. I was not grieving. I truly wasn't grieving. I was crying. I was feeling lots of feelings, but I wasn't moving through them and I wasn't learning anything from them. I was trying to survive them. I was trying to survive cravings. I was trying to survive losses and fear, trying to survive uncertainty and disappointment. I was trying to survive when the world gave me enormous changes, and yet I wasn't participating in those changes. So today, when I just choose to stay present over and over again, like recovery has taught me, shown me that repeatedly choosing to stay present, repeatedly saying to myself, I can, rather than I can't tolerate this, I can. Continuing to do that builds more evidence that I can trust me. I can handle this. Um, maybe I don't have to feel good today to have a good day in recovery, but I do have to pay attention today. I do have to refuse to abandon myself because today hurts. today I can carry tomorrow's me. And tomorrow she will be so glad that I did and so grateful that I did. And that is like live action recovery. That's what I have happening. I get to get on my knees every night before bed and thank God for my sobriety and for not smoking and for being willing to recover and thank God for my body and say, Thy will be done, not mine. That process for me is really looking back on my day and saying, did you do the most that you could for tomorrow, for yourself for tomorrow? And and then just really falling forward into tomorrow with trust. And that's what's working for me. So thanks for joining me today, and I will talk to you next time.